Ciao.
Decide what to buy. Should it be a Macintosh or a PC? If it's a PC, what brand of PC? And what kind of display? How much memory? How big a hard drive? Should you get a CD-ROM?
Line that sounds dirty, or just words that sound like a punchline. I should have some way to come into each of these shows. Instead, I'll just come in and say, hey, everybody, look, it's Chuck Joyner back for day 2 of this week of In a Few Minutes. Chuck, thank you very much for hanging out. Tell people where to find MacVoices. Give them an idea for people who don't know what it is and where they can find it.
Sure. MacVoices.com is where I have interviews with both individual and panel interviews with friends and people in the tech industry with a pretty heavy Apple focus about what they do and what their thinking is on whatever is happening today, whether it's new hardware releases or new software or some tech issue of the day. And I can be found on most social media as @ChuckJoyner, Joiner.
Are you still doing gift guides?
We're going to be rolling the gift guides out probably right up to about Christmas, the way it's going. Yeah, because I've got a couple in the can and a number of people that still are anxious to participate. So,
all right.
Yeah, those are just fun shows.
Yeah. All right. So yesterday we did It's News to Chuck. And when I'm going down the list, I thought, ooh, you know what would be fun? We'll drop the S. It's new to Chuck. Since the last time you and I talked, well, on this show, because you haven't been on here, I think, since like May or June. But just since September, Apple has come out with new iPads, new Apple Watches, new iPhones, HomePod Mini, and of course, a new round of Macs that are powered by the M1. Is there anything that Apple has come out with in the past several months that you have purchased?
Out of that list, the Apple Watch 6.
Okay.
The HomePod Mini.
Okay.
And let's see, what else did you say? And a new M1 MacBook Air.
Oh, okay. Oh, golly, I don't know where to start. Let me start actually with the watch really quickly because I feel like we can probably get through that one fairly fast. You traded from an Apple Watch what to an Apple Watch 6?
5 to 6.
Oh, 5 to 6. Okay. Do you buy a new one every year?
Pretty much. Mainly, boy. You know, it's one of those things. It's not a case of having to have the latest other than to be able to talk about it for MacVoices. Mm-hmm. But the idea of the additional health functions that they keep building into these things, I really like and I think are important. And I definitely want to be keeping up on those for myself and, you know, to be able to relate to the audience who wants to talk about them.
Okay. HomePod Mini we've talked a lot about on the show, but I'm curious, did you have a HomePod before?
I had a pair of HomePods.
A pair of HomePods, okay. So did you get the HomePod Mini for the same reason, or was there a room that your other two HomePods were missing?
Well, I had the HomePods as a stereo pair in the living room, and I wanted to expand, not the soundstage, that's a music thing, but just the ability to go from room to room and still, A, have control over things, but B, to have all those HomePods playing the same thing. So that, for example, if I'm listening to an episode of macOS Ken, I can be, you know, eating breakfast and then move to the living room and not miss a beat. And that sounds a little bit, you know, I'm not sure. That sounds definitely a little bit spoiled, but it just and I prefer, at least at home, not to have AirPods sticking in my ears if I can avoid it.
Sure.
So, you know, that way I have speakers everywhere.
I actually, because I've only got the two, I've got one HomePod that's downstairs in the kitchen, and I have the HomePod Mini upstairs, and I haven't tried playing them because I don't do a lot of moving from one of those to the other. I mean, if I'm, well, for whatever reason, I haven't tried that yet. How easy is it to set it up so that it plays all over the place, and then does it actually work properly, or is there any kind of lag or anything like that?
No lag. It is super easy. You just, call up the, where you're sending your audio to and tick off each one as you want to send audio to that one or to those. And that's it. And their lag, I mean, other than the natural acoustics of the respective rooms that they're in, it's all playing completely in sync.
Okay. I want to stay away from the Mac just for a second because I know the answer to the question. If you have a new Mac, then you obviously are running Big Sur on at least one machine. Talk to me about your experience with that.
On the new machine, yes, I am running that. I am not running it on my production machine, my production 16-inch MacBook Pro, just because there are still some utilities and different things that are not quite there yet. They haven't been converted over. In fact, I ran into that problem just a couple days ago with something that I was going to do on the Air, and the utility kept crashing. And so I decided, I got to go back to the 16-inch to do that. I would have preferred to do it on the Air as a separate machine. So I've never been one of those, Ken, that feels like I need to install something day one on my production machine.
Right.
Because there are too many things that can go wrong. I'd rather, I would much rather clone my production machine to an external drive, install, in this case, Big Sur there, and then play with it for a few days and see if anything blows up. And if it doesn't after a few days, then I figure I'm good, but not quite there just yet.
What's the utility that's missing for you, if you don't mind?
No. And it's not a criticism. I really haven't checked to see why, but ScreenFlow. I was trying to record something with ScreenFlow, and it just, every time I'd hit the record button, it would crash.
I gotta say, I'm feeling, the more I talk to, because I talked to you this week, and I feel terrible because I'm forgetting right now who was on. Oh, Adam Christensen was on last week, and you're both like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that anytime soon because, I rely on my computer. I also rely on my computer, and yet for some reason I jumped in the Saturday after they were released, or the Friday night after it was released. And luckily I've had no problems, because the more I think about it, it's like, well, that was lunacy. What was I thinking? Because, what I was thinking was I do have a MacBook Air on which I can produce, because I did for a number of years. It's been a couple of years, though, since I've used that machine as my primary machine, and I think I would probably drive myself mad, but luckily, it all ended up being fine. All right, so you've got a 16-inch MacBook Pro that you use as your production machine. That is still your primary machine. I'm guessing then the reason, and, well, it could be two things. I'm guessing the reason you got the M1 MacBook Air was to be able to talk about it, or did you want an M1 MacBook Air and thought, oh, and also I'll be able to talk about it?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Both. I should say too, I was able to trade in an older Air, a much older Air actually, that I really thought would have no value, and so that gave me a it gave me a decent discount, a larger than expected discount on the Air, and so it just made perfect sense to trade an Air that was pretty much unusable at this point for anything. Sorry,
how old was the one you were trading?
That Air I believe was a 2011.
Wow. Okay, and they gave you a good deal on that.
Yeah, well, they gave me, yes. I believe the trade-in value was like 121, 104, 120 to 140. I forget which now, but that was a pretty nice discount on a brand new, Air. And so, why not get something that now is not going to be obsolete for quite some time? And of course, as it turned out, I didn't know at the time, like none of us knew, just what kind of rave reviews it would be getting and just how powerful a machine you were buying. Okay,
so talk to me about that. Like, can you separate the primary difference of that machine from the operating system, or can you not? Just, do you feel the raw power, or is it all tied in? I don't know exactly how I'm trying to ask what I'm trying to ask. Talk to me about using the new Air.
I've been experimenting with the native apps because I know those are optimized for the M1 chip. And Compressor does an amazing job. All of a sudden it's running. I don't do benchmarks, Ken. I'm much more impressed with how does it really feel to me? Do I feel like it's making a difference? And so, compressing video, it definitely makes a difference. The Final Cut runs just fine. There are a couple plugins that I've experimented with that aren't quite there yet, and that's another reason I haven't moved it over as a production machine. And of course, Pages, Keynote, all of those. It's the word that I keep coming back to for so many things is just with each iteration of software and or hardware, everything just feels snappier. Just things that I maybe 3 years ago had to wait 2 seconds for, then 1 second, then half a second, and now they just feel instantaneous as things have evolved. So it's been a very, very pleasant experience. And I think once all the software gets optimized for the M1, it will be a fantastic machine.
How much of a difference does the Instant On mean to you?
Again, it's nice. Was I just craving Instant On? No, but at the same time, now when I turn on my 16-inch MacBook Pro, I do have to wait a beat or two or three or more, and as a result, it starts to feel just a little inferior, even though I love that machine, just a little inferior to the Air.
One last question for you on that, because I'm hearing you say that you want to move your production over to the MacBook Air. What size? It's a 13-inch, right?
Right.
Okay. Are you not going to miss the bigger real estate, or are you going to run it onto a monitor?
I will eventually run it onto a monitor, but yes, I would. This would not be. I would not anticipate this being my main production machine for quite a while. It'll be an alternate production machine, sort of like what you were saying. I don't think this will become my daily driver. I didn't get a big hard drive in it. The whole RAM issue has been talked to death, and I don't have enough experience with that yet to really comment on it. Mm-hmm. But I will be definitely looking forward to the 16-inch M whatever MacBook Pro when it comes out.
Right. Are you looking at this then as, is this a temporary machine for you? Because I know you said you're looking forward to having a machine that's not going to be obsolete anytime soon. But it almost sounds like you're sort of on this one for a while until the one you really want comes by.
I'm on the 16 until the one I really want comes by. The Air is, for me, an alternate machine. It's not uncommon for me to have both of these on my desk doing something at one way or another, especially when you're talking about a 13-inch screen. It's just not big enough for me to spread out Final Cut and the apps that I have to use for the office and everything else. That's just not enough real estate.
Here's the idea I love. You get one of those, those things that they used to have for like a 13-inch TV, but it was like a piece of plastic that also enlarged it.
Oh yeah, like a magnifying glass.
Yeah. Just get one of those, and it'll be like having a 16-inch, but it'll be not.